this episode, I would like to invite you to Kenya, to the Masai Mara National Park at the time of the Great Wildebeest Migration. Last year, I was lucky enough to go with a small group of friends. We were especially targeting the migration, and within the migration, one of our dreams was to see a river crossing. At the time of the migration, more than 2 million wildebeest, antelopes, and zebras are crossing from the Serengeti to the Masai Mara. It's not easy to see a river crossing. So, of course, our story starts while we were sitting in a jeep and waiting for hours, looking at a nearby herd of wildebeest and zebras, hoping that eventually the herd will grow big enough and the tension will rise to a level where they will decide to cross the nearby river. It was amazing to see how the zebras were trying to guide the wildebeest, trying to find the perfect crossing spot. The herd started to run a few times, but they didn't find the crossing site, so they calmed down again. The tension kept rising, but we were not sure if we will see a crossing or not. But eventually this tension got so high that a few wildebeest walked out to the edge of the riverbank, looked down at the river, then more and more animals arrived behind them and started to kind of push them. So at a point they had no chance to return. So after a while they jumped and the ones behind started to jump, and then slowly the crossing started to happen. Then the speed built up, and then at a moment hundreds and hundreds of animals crossed every single minute the river. It was an amazing experience. The vibes, the intensity, the vibration, the literal vibration of the earth, the smells, the sounds. It was one of the biggest show I've ever seen in nature. The crossing was not as dramatic than you see normally in the documentaries. There were no crocodiles. The river was not too deep, and actually the river banks were not too steep. So the wildebeest made it cross the river without any problems. Or that's what we thought. At this moment, I seen some movement from the corner of my eye and realized that is a lion. It tried to attack a wildebeest, but they spotted her and the whole crossing stopped. So there was the lioness alone on the other side of the river, just looking around. And on our side, there were tens of thousands of wildebeest still, which tried to cross. They still had the tension, they still had the movement, they still had the will to cross, but they were stopped. But after a while, they decided to start crossing again in a much less convenient place. The bank was much more steep and there were more bush around. At this point, because the crossing was happening behind us, the jeep started to scramble and started to move and try to get a position from where they will see the inevitable happening, which was that the lion started to turn and started to go slowly closer to the wildebeest where they were crossing from bush to bush, lower down into the grass, and then started to run. At this point, I just shouted at our driver to stop. I've seen that in any second the attack might happen, and I didn't care where we are. The only chance we have to see and maybe take pictures of the action is if the car is stopped. Literally, I focused under the roof of another jeep front of us, and I just started to take pictures in the hope that I will get a shot of the moment. It was unbelievable what came next. The lion literally grabbed a wildebeest in the air, pulled it down, grabbed it, and overpowered it in a couple of seconds. In a few seconds, the lion was over it, biting the neck and suffocating the wildebeest. Honestly, I wasn't sure if I will be able to handle a lion kill or any kind of kill in the savannah, because I felt that I will feel sorry for the prey. But this moment was so pure, so natural, so powerful that I didn't even have a chance to think about feeling sorry for the animal. It just felt like witnessing raw power and raw nature at its best. After a minute or so, when the struggle was completely over, we couldn't see them anymore because the grass on the other side was just too high. We decided to leave the lion and leave the wildebeest, which were not crossing anymore. While the first attack stopped them momentarily, the successful attack actually managed to stop the crossing. So half of the herd was on one side of the river, the other half on the other side. This was one of the most amazing and unpredictable moment in wildlife for me. We were humbled by the migration, and we felt by seeing and witnessing a river crossing, we achieved our goal. We've seen lions, plenty of lions before. We've seen lions with prey already killed. Now we've seen the river crossing. What could we wish for? And more or less at this very moment, we witnessed an unsuccessful, then a successful lion's attack. And I was even lucky enough to take a couple of pictures, which means that I could share this moment with you as well. I hope you enjoyed the little story. I hope you enjoyed the photos and videos. Hopefully you felt a little bit like you've been there in the savannah, witnessing the migration and the river crossing and the lion kill as well. Please don't forget to like this video, comment, and share it so more and more people can see it and realize that you don't need to actually be a documentary crew to be able to witness something amazing as this one out on a safari. You just need to go out and be patient, humble, and eventually you will also witness amazing, amazing stuff out there in wildlife. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you guys very soon.